Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the second part of the Marc Silk episode. It's the Eddie Room Rambling with myself, Adam Neeson, joined as always by the Jedi Knight, Danny Brown. Tony Brown, how are you, sir?
I'm very good, sir, and welcome back. We hope you enjoy our rest of our conversation with Mark Silk. It's fantastic. Enjoy for your ear holes. Yay!
Yay! He's the Cocoa Pop Monkey. Bye bye.
Everything we were looking before when you stepped out to get your biscuits, we were like, what toys has he got? We were
Oh,
admiring.
okay. So, what do you notice so far?
I was like, Kermit, Gonzo, Axmo, the
Yep.
Sorting Hat.
Yep.
There is the Tom and Jerry picture. You've Mr. Tickle. You
Oh,
have, is it a Go Jetters picture that just above the bigger one, above Axmo?
yes, and it's signed by all the cast and the people involved in the show.
Fantastic. And then what's the picture below? Can't see that one's just
Oh,
like
that's something I
cool.
picked up at Disney from this artist, and it's of the Haunted Mansion.
Ooh.
Classic attraction. Mark Davis art, and oh my word, I love that guy's art. And then, what did you say that was?
Is that Mr. Tickle? No.
See what it actually says. That was made for me.
Mr. Is it
Mr.
Mr.
Silk.
Silk? Mr.
Mr.
Silk is
Silk.
Mr. Did you voice Mr. Tickle? Have you ever done
No,
Mr. Man voice?
that's a good point. There was a series of toys, like when I was still doing production and voices as later, and I actually did the voice of. It was a whole range of toys of the Mister Men and Little Miss, and I did like it was just them laughing.
Okay.
So I ended up having to do different laughs for different characters of the Mister Men, and for the female characters, my mom did them.
Oh.
Nice.
And
So
did you?
I directed my mom and then sped her up to be the voice of that.
That's
So
cute.
that was good fun. And then so we've got Kermit from you know what, something that looks very similar to Axmo from Star Wars. It can't possibly be. Um, Grandmaster Glitch from Go Jetters. Yeah, there. A sorting hat. There is a wonderful, and there is another project. There's a sorting hat of a Harry Potter pinball machine, but like high end, proper luxury pinball machine that came out uh last year, middle of last year, and I've been working on that in the quiet for a good year, and I'm the voice that just takes you through the whole game. And there's also clips from the film in there, but my God, it's like a roller coaster meets theme park attraction meets movie meets roller coaster. It's stunning. This thing is the lighting, the geometry, the shots, the excitement, the sound design, the everything. It is a really amazing game, and you can treat yourself to one. I highly recommend you do. I believe the Pinball Santa were very nice, and so I have one. And it's very nice. I didn't say that out loud, and Eric Menu, who designed the thing from JJP Pinball in Chicago, is a pinball designing legend. And I don't say that lightly. He is a massively talented man who's created some great games. But the fact that they got in touch with me, wanting me to work with them, I'm a pinball fan, and I've been out to like the pinball expos in Chicago many times as just a fan.
Mhm.
And the first time I went out there, I remember I went out there just to see these people talk about the artwork, the geometry, the electronics, the creating a game. And someone came up to me who was a podcaster who I listened to, and I said, "Oh, hi, can we just get your opinion? Can we just say hi? Would you mind? My name is Jeff. Can we record you just for the podcast? Say what you think of the show?" And I said, "Oh, hi, Jeff. I'm Mark." And he went, "We know who you are." I was thinking, how? Because it's just me, But they knew, which is very nice. And so I got introduced to all these different people from the different companies, and I was just happy to chat. And then from that point on, I ended up working on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Nickelodeon cast me as 6 characters from that. So there is a game a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game that I'm Bebop and Rocksteady. I'll get you, turtles. And Master Shredder, they coming to get you. Oh my goodness! And then it's me that you hear go, and that is how they became the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And it's kind of there's loads, and even in this game, if you do a certain code, press the buttons in the right order, a video message appears on the screen from me in the studio with that mic behind me there, on your screen. And it's a nice little Easter egg. But so we've worked on, let's see now, there's 6 games now, I think, the 6 pinball machine games. There's loads of other games. But in particular, there's something particularly cool about pinball because it's real, it's physical, it's tactile. It's, you put your screen down, put your phone down, and you are now focused on just this thing. And it's this the Harry Potter game that I worked on. I'm in is it's something else, and even the artwork. I mean, Eric, the guy that created the thing, he knows Harry Potter inside out, but also knows every element of the creative process. So he's a fan of the original Harry Potter books, and Mina Lima, there's two, Miraforma and Eduardo. They are the artists that did all the art for the original books, the beautiful collector's edition, and they've done art for the props in the films, and art and creative design for the Universal Studios theme park attractions. And so, they're amazing. And so he brought them in to do the artwork for the collector's edition machine. Now it would be very easy to make if you're making a Harry Potter game, to just use artwork from the film. But for the collector's edition, to know that much that you want those artists to be working on the thing with you, it's pretty amazing. So that was a treat to meet them as well. And then I was on the Harry Potter panel in Chicago in October, and we talked about working on the game. Even just that, just being asked is lovely.
Yeah. Yeah. It seems like you've had the privilege of kind of getting to work with so many different creative people, like people who you've looked up to and been inspired by, but then ultimately through your work, you're getting to also kind of work with people who are as creative and passionate as you are. And just, it's great to see. And like you said, it's that inspiring and desire to inspire and share your creativity as well. It's fantastic. And looking just even around your like space, we were saying there before about like what can you see, and it's clear that you have those influences. You love the work you do, but you love so much of the work of others as well. And why?
Yeah.
Just Tom and Jerry there, like why Tom and Jerry
Oh,
specifically?
well, again, we were talking the 40s and 50s, the greatest Tom and Jerry films, and it was Hanna-Barbera with the animators behind it, and the look of it and the action, and this is MGM with the MGM orchestra. And back in the day, you had these contract players under contract that were just there. So kind of very similar with Warner Brothers. You had these incredible animators like on staff. The Warner Brothers example is like Termite Terrace in Warner. They called it Termite Terrace because they got the big movies where all the stars were, and then they were in this little shack dump that they called Termite Terrace because there were termites in the building. And so, like all these Warner Brothers things, they were basically they go make another one, so they'd make another one, and they had access, to use the Tom and Jerry example, to the orchestras that were being used for the films in their downtime. It was like, okay, well, let's use them then. Okay. You got so these are full orchestral scores, or very, like some of the Tom and Jerry stuff and Warner stuff got quite jazzy. And like the Warner stuff, it's almost early versions of sampling, because it's like easy to think of like Yurakai samplers from the 80s and 90s, and emulators and things doing the early versions of sampling. Well, in the most manuscript form, back in the day, like with Warner Brothers, so Carl Starling was like the guy for Warner Brothers cartoons. But he had access to the Warner Brothers the music that they owned. So as well as creating new music for these Warner Brothers cartoons, if you saw Bugs Bunny going around the mountain, Suddenly you'd hear the orchestra go dun 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 dun, and then back again, and literally just taking little samples of stuff that sounded familiar from the Warner library, using them like you would if you were using samples in a DJ set now. But Warner Brothers, I loved that because where Disney was beautiful, Warner and Tom and Jerry were dangerous. They were edgy, and again, full frame animation, whereas later on for TV animation, it was much more limited because of budgets and time constraints. But Tom and Jerry, I adored because of it had this energy and action, and it was, you think now it's violent as hell. I bought there's a Blu-ray restoration box set that I bought recently, and it's for the first time they're all there, restored, remastered, beautiful, and uncensored because they're a product of their time like so much is. And it's important to remember that different times, different attitudes, but they're still incredible bits of animation. And so to be able to watch some of these things looking just stunning again in the best form they've ever been presented in, it's a treat. Same with the Warner animations, and I'm a massive fan of Jerry Anderson as well, and Thunderbirds and Stingray and all that. I collect all this stuff. I've got all of it just sat here, and again, going back to what you said just now, Danny, about it has to be more than just you, because there's a team of brilliant people putting these things together, and you need the whole team for you to sound good. I was recording a thing. There was a Scooby-Doo thing I was recording in Manchester a few weeks ago, and this guy came. I couldn't find my way in. So I phoned up to the reception, to the lobby there, and this really cool guy called Max answered the phone, and I said who it was, and he went, "Oh, I'll come down and get you." And he came, and I said, "So what's your role in this, Max?" And he went, "Oh, I'm just the runner." And I went, "You're not just the runner." I said, "At this point in time, you're the most important person in the building, because without you, I'm not getting in." And it's kind of a useful thing to remember that. That we're all we've all got a role within this. And you were saying like the just other like I'll show this. Hang on a second. There we go. So over here, let's say, well, where's they gone there? So that's a Simpsons couch gag cell. That's an original. What a great view of that one. That's from Box Office Bugs, which was the first Warner Brothers Bugs Bunny short they'd done in a long, long time. That's a beautiful speaker from France called Focal. That's another beautiful speaker called Focal, but it's higher. And that's an original Johnny Bravo production cell from the show. That's by Virgil Ross, an original, which won the Academy Award. That is a limited edition cell of Daffy Duck from Duck Amuck, original Scooby-Doo. That is treasure, that one. That's an original Scooby from the earlier shows. And it's signed to me personally by Don Messick, the original voice of Scooby-Doo. After Don, anybody else that is fortunate enough to be brought in to perform the voice of Scooby-Doo in whatever way, we're all doing our tip of the hat to Don Messick. And I got to meet him at an animation art gallery in London like 100 years ago. He died a few years after. It wasn't my fault. And just this lovely man. And what was so nice was most people were going up and treating him like a cartoon voice jukebox. Do this one, do that one, because he was the voice of Yogi Bear. So no, it wasn't. He was the voice of Boo Boo Bear. So he's, "Gee, Yogi, don't tell Ranger Smith about the picnic basket." And Ranger Smith and Muttley, I can't do the voice because I don't smoke. And he was and the original voice of Scooby-Doo and loads of other character voices. But I got to chat with him, and I just chatted with him. I just said, "Thank you. It's an absolute dream to meet you. I said, you're one of you're one of the people that made me do what I do. And then I asked him just a couple of questions. We talked for about 5 minutes, and he went, "How do you know all this?" And I said, "It's you, Don." I said, "You're pretty special. What you've done it matters." And this was like 95, maybe about 95. And I was just this before I was voice acting, full time. And I went there just because he was important, and it was before Comic Cons had really taken off like this. So there was still a good crowd for him, but it wasn't quite the same as it would be now. And it was just this privilege to meet him. And there's a story that I'd heard about Droopy. Hello, you happy people. You know what? I'm happy. Him. I was the voice of Droopy for Cartoon Network over here for a whole bunch of segments for about a year. It's like a Droopy's mailbag. Hello, Johnathan. Anyway, so and I asked him the story about how he got the voice of Droopy, and he went, "How do you know that?" And I'd read up all about him because the web wasn't really so much a thing that in 1995. I was still wearing shorts. But it was so anyway. So the point being, that's an original Scooby. That's a Scooby-Doo model sheet. That's a Flintstones model sheet. That's a Yogi Bear setup, animation cell setup. So back before the CGIs, everything was on basically clear sheets. These clear sheets that it was all painted by hand on. Much more. That's clearly all you need to know about animation. But that's from 1958, I think it is. So it's I think it's an original background with Yogi Bear and Cindy Bear, but it's beautifully done. Oh, and that one is an original pencil sketch by Chuck Jones, signed by Mel Blanc, the voice of Bugs Bunny. And it just continues. Yeah. But it's funny, with like the character voice side of stuff. I've learned so much about characters and character performance by hearing animators talk, because it's like, why are they doing this, and how do they make the creative decisions they made, and how did it look so? I don't know, how did that moment look so gentle, and how did that look so violent, and how, that, and why, and how, and so there's there's a guy I love called Chuck Jones, and he was the guy that's really renowned for refining Bugs Bunny. Other people worked on Bugs before him, but he's the guy that kind of like finalized the look that we know as that's the look of Bugs Bunny. And just hearing him talk about just characters, it's fascinating. And have you ever seen a animated short called One Froggy Evening? It is like up there. If you ever get a survey of one of the greatest animated shorts ever, this is by Chuck Jones, and it hasn't got any of the well-known characters in it. There's a frog in it, which later became named as Michigan J. Frog. And it is just funny. It's funny, and there's no character voices in it. It's just sound effects, music, and it's just like the study in human greed and fun and hope and failure and everything, and it's just funny as hell. One Froggy Evening. If you, it'll be on the web somewhere. Take a look at it. It's well worth it. But that's Chuck Jones.
Isn't it the same frog that does the hello baby, hello my honey?
Hello my baby, hello my darling, hello my ragtime girl. That's it, yeah.
To do that, and then Spaceballs then spoofs that with the Chestburster. So linking it back to Star Wars.
There you go. There it is.
But yes, I know the frog you're talking about, but I don't think I've seen that. But
you didn't tell me it was this good.
He's a pro.
He's a pro. Well, enough of that rumor.
Your point on animation and how, yes, voice acting and the voice performances are important, but as important is the way it's put together, how it's animated, the sound effects, and one of the things, because I always have to bring it back to Star Wars, for we are a Star Wars podcast, is
Hey,
Genndy Tartakovsky's Clone Wars series. One of the best episodes of that is the Mace Windu episode
right.
where he has to go in and fight like a full separatist army, like near enough by himself. And there's no dialogue in the episode whatsoever, but like the sound design
Yeah.
of the blaster fire, there's a big like compactor that's smushing the battlefield, and the sound of that coming down, and just the whole, and the air, just the air moving around everything is incredible. And it's just that one 10-minute segment of animation from Star Wars, and this predates all the CGI animation that we had
Yeah.
since.
All by hand.
Like, yeah, it's
Mm.
incredible. And how Tartovsky does action, like his ability to animate action, I think is unparalleled.
Yeah.
But
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
no, I'd made my point. I was just
Well,
rambling.
again, there's one of my favorite art. There was a documentary in the late 80s called I Drew Roger Rabbit. And that was such an important film because it was really the first time all those Warner Brothers and Disney characters could all come together. Because Warner and Disney, you don't meet, and they managed to make that happen. But it was animated by Richard Williams, who was this legendary. He wrote the book. He literally wrote the book on how to animate. Anybody learning how to animate, you pick up his book, and it's that's how you do it. It's the law. That's how you animate stuff. But he was before that. I grew up watching his animated shorts of the Pink Panther, which they used to show on BBC TV like on a Saturday evening. And but Richard Williams, there was this documentary on the making of Roger Rabbit, but it's basically him because he had a studio in Soho Square. And every time I go down to Soho Square to do any recordings, I'm still in awe of the fact that that was the building that was Richard Williams' studio for Roger Rabbit. But there was in this documentary near the end, it shows this other thing that Richard Williams shared, which is a film that he was making in his spare time. And it was revealed, it was the first time I'd ever heard of it. And as far as I'm aware, the first time it was ever really spoken about on TV over here, called The Thief and the Cobbler. And again, it's a masterclass in how not to do it. Because from the business side, it fell apart and never got finished. From the creative side, it's one of the most beautiful pieces of animation you'll ever see in your life. I mean, the guy was incredible. And the team he had around him as well, he brought in some of Disney's most classic artists that were still alive to help work on this film. And, Vincent Price was a voice in the film. And I think John Mills was a voice. And he would do a project, and with that money, put it back into Thief and the Cobbler and make more of that. But going to the artistry and the craft of the thing, in this documentary, it shows you these tests. And as he's showing these bits of test footage, he said he nearly thought about calling the film Once or One, because you could only ever make one of these once in your lifetime because of just how intricate it was. Everything animated by hand. And you see this, there's a scene where there's this Vincent Price as this character flipping a deck of cards, like, doing this trick with these cards. And the cards are flying around. And it's like, it's full frame animation, but the speed and the detail and everything, and it's hand drawn. And then there's this fire scene where you see these cogs and fire and lava and everything, and it's dripping, and it looks like CGI, except CGI hadn't come around yet. And then Aladdin happened, literally within weeks. And this lifetime of work that your reaction to seeing this level of animation like you'd never seen before because of the detail on it, this lifetime of work, suddenly your view of that doesn't change because the just the skill involved with it. Then you look what Disney did with Aladdin, and they could do all that suddenly with CGI.
Yeah.
And it must have been heartbreaking for him because you kind of go, we've just seen something it's very rare that you see something for the first time. You know, we've seen everything. It feels like it. It's like the first time you see, you know, I don't know, AI, or the first time you see the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park. And you go, it's that rare moment where you've just seen something brand new. But yeah. And then we get on to Aladdin and Robin Williams as a hero of mine and all these things.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's funny that you say that. Obviously, Aladdin changed everything for him, but on the voiceover side with Robin Williams, obviously that changes the game in terms of the way Disney sort of makes the movie from then on. Robin Williams and the genie character sort of morphs what the best friend character can be in animated movies and sort of opens it up to, even though a lot of the a lot of the things were stunt casting, you know, because they want the Robin Williams effect. It ends up with you have the funny sidekick character.
Yeah, I worked on a show that Robin Williams was on. Oh God, I mean, I was in awe of Robin Williams. I like, you know, the thing we try and collect everything possible to do with that one thing. I'm looking at your shelves again, Danny. But it's you know, if there'll be a person or a band or whatever, and he just won everything. And it was like that with me and Robin Williams. And I mean, first of all, I thought it was freaking funny. Sorry, shouldn't say funny. I ended up being the voice of all the announcer stuff for Prince Charles's 60th birthday. There was a celebration in its theatre. There was a show, and the bill was, well, Prince Charles was in the audience with Camilla and Prince Harry. So it was me that announced all that. And then hosted by John Cleese, there was Joan Rivers, Bill Bailey. Was Rowan Atkinson there? Eric Idle there. Andrew Sachs was there, and Robin Williams. And you kind of go, oh my God. And I basically, I pre-recorded all my stuff so I could be in the audience. And you see me in like the second row, just so I could get a better view. And it was just like lightning. Just live, and I think I must be one of the only people that's got the whole thing. They gave me all the B-roll footage. Probably shouldn't be telling you this, but I've got the whole unedited version they did of him. You can imagine for like regular ITV, they might have made a few edits. They actually changed the order of the show. I mean, he was, I think he was the first person on stage. Anyway, but it was incredible, and to be there, and he was there, and you kind of go, this is magic. It's just dream come true stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Was it cooler? Was it more? Were you more in awe of him or George?
It's equal in just different ways.
Yeah.
You know, which is, you know, my two favorite bands are, well, my favorite band is Queen. My favorite singer is Billy Joel.
Mm-hmm.
I've met I've met the band backstage when I went to see Billy Joel with a friend. It was actually with Peter Kay. I mean, we both love Billy Joel, and this one day we went to see Billy Joel. And we went in the artist entrance, and they were very kind to us. And we had dinner, and you kind of go, "This is just nuts." And again, all the band are just lined up backstage, and it's like, you know, whoever your favorite band is, or singer, or actor, or whatever, you know, it's this lifetime of, again, saying everything within 3 seconds as you walk past them.
Mm-hmm.
But getting the chance to say hello was incredible, and we had better seats than Cameron Diaz. And then Queen, my dad loved Queen, and through sheer fluke, my auntie and uncle took me to go and see what turned out to be Queen's last ever live gig with Freddie Mercury at Nebworth Park in August, 1986 when I was just wasn't even born then. But again, it's like, which is so I got to do that thing with the Billy Joel band, and I know their new bass player now, for Queen's bass player. And again, this thing of just connections of like we just like stuff. So there's this amazing Billy Joel, great for this is fantastic for the Star Wars podcast. There's this brilliant Billy Joel tribute show by a guy called Elio Pace. And I went to see him when he came to the city here. And you kind of go, it'll be fun, but it's a Billy Joel, it's might be cheesy. Good God, it was not. He is astonishing. But more than that, his band, holy bejeepers, it's like world-class session musicians. So I took a load of pictures and put it out on Twitter that night and on the socials going, oh my word, what an incredible show. And Frank, the percussionist, wow, he can play. And sax and all that stuff. So anyway, the next day, my Twitter blows up with this guy Frank and his fans going, oh my God, I can't believe the voice of Grandmaster Glitch was at our show. Because his kid like go-jetters. So we start chatting and he invites me to go back the next time they're in the city. So I do. I go and see the show. And he invites us back to go and just hang out and say hi. And because I knew his son like go-jetters this show that I'm the voice of the naughty guy, Grandmaster Glitch, him. I took some pictures of the character to give to his son. And there's a promo picture of Star Wars 2 that I gave to I took that too. And so I signed this for him. And it was lovely to see him. And he went, oh, hang on a second. You were in Star Wars? I went, yeah. And he goes, I know someone's going to want to meet you. So then he goes out. 2 minutes later, Queen's bass player walks in and this guy called Neil Fairclough, he took over from John Deacon. And he walks in going, oh my God, I can't believe that you're in Star Wars. I love what you did. And it's, I think what it is, it's like this thing of, this isn't meant to sound like the name drops that it probably does. But it's kind of just about like, we all love other stuff. We all love other people's stuff. So, we all do what we do, but we ended up just like chatting for half an hour, talking about Billy Joel. Not us, not what we do, but about talking about someone else that we think is fantastic. And there's something quite lovely about that.
Yeah, it's all about the connections you make with people and just the things that you get passionate about. That's why, Adam and I just met through our love of film. Adam hosts another podcast called Banterflix Film Review Show. I host a horror film podcast as well as horror film screenings, and I got invited onto their podcast, and we were talking about Phantom Menace for the anniversary, and that's how Adam and I were just like, oh, we love this chat, and why not start a podcast based on the chat that we had, and here we are, like nearly a year later, getting to talk to wonderful people like yourself about Star Wars
and entertaining both listeners who are loving every second of this. By the way, I know the answer is yes. Did you see Phantom Menace in 3D?
I didn't.
Wow.
It didn't get a big release in Northern Ireland. It did not get as wide a scale release in Northern Ireland as anywhere else. And we didn't get any of the cool 3D glasses either. So
oh no. Axmo's coming towards me.
3D. No, Axmo's pointing his finger at us.
Actual 3D classic.
Yeah. But we definitely hit it up for the 25th anniversary there. And then we were at the Revenge of the Sith 20th anniversary last year in 40X. We did go and participate in that.
In 40X.
In 40X. It was, the pair of us thrown around the place. I was like, how are they going to use the water effect?
I saw, I don't remember what film it was. Was it Spider-Man? It was something. I saw something in 40X. And the friend booked the tickets, and I arrived there, met up, and he looked like upset. I said, are you okay? He went, yeah, I'm fine. He said, I made a mistake with the booking. I said, what, you booked the right film? He said, yeah, I booked it in 40X. And I said, Why? He said, well, I thought it'd be like an experience. I said, you know it's going to be awful. I went, yeah, I know. So I said, well, let's make the best of it. So we go into this thing. And what was it? I forget what the film was. And it started off, and you see this, like, I don't know, it was a chase. Say it was a police car with a siren going, woo, woo, woo. And you see this red light in the cinema, like, spinning around and like on top of the screen. You go, that's not immersive. That's a red light distracting us at the top of the screen. Then it was clearly like windy and hurricane or whatever it was. And then there's lights going, woo, woo. And then you hear, and these two fans turn on, either side of the screen, like blowing us. Get blown in 40x with a red. No wonder there's a red light going on. And then there's like it started raining, and then there's like it's just rubbish. It wasn't immersive. It was just silly, And then the chairs go. Rocking us around. What's this? This is not immersive. And so we looked at each other. We just thought, wait till the chair stops moving, then we'll jump out and we'll go and have go have a cake somewhere, And the manager's outside, and he said, "Do you want any money back?" I said, "What makes you think that?" He said, "Well," he said, "it's rubbish, isn't it?" Well, yeah, it was. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying that I'm sure there's moments for legal reasons why it can be quite a marvelous experience. Maybe just like a tickle. But the guy he said, "Do you want your money back?" He's like, before he even said anything, he said, he's quite happy to give us a refund. For just sitting at a screen and watching like water get thrown at us, and there's light turned on, the fan and a motor sound.
Was the film Bridges of Madison County at all?
Oh yeah. It was Beaches with Bette Midler. It was a full length. It was a full length. It was Downton Abbey, the film. Yes, in 40x. But what? No, I was just now. Would you have gone to see Phantom Menace in the 3D if you could have done?
Yeah, I would have. I would have. I think if it had a bigger push and release here, I would have gone. But as I say, it just didn't get. Like, I can't even think. I was living in Ballymena at the time, and it didn't get released in the IMC in my town.
You lucky man.
Were you not a fan of the 3D Phantom Menace release?
I'm a huge. Even as a kid, I loved 3D. It doesn't mean it was good. It just means I loved it. And so it was, whether it was 3D comics or anything on TV that they were doing little experiments with, and I remember going in, what would it be when I went to Disney? When I went to Epcot, they had Captain EO, the Michael Jackson space thing. But the original version was they re-released it after he died. But the original version, which again George Lucas, Francis Ford Coppola, had this custom built theater with all kinds of effects and lasers and lights and smoke and stuff, and it was really good for back then. And again, I loved just the nonsense of it all. So I remember seeing Space Hunter in 3D. Another film that everyone's forgotten. And there was another film. Was it Metal Storm? God, I haven't said that name out loud in 100 years.
You're making these up, Mark.
I know, yeah. And then but the one that I loved as a kid is clearly everyone's favorite Jaws film, Jaws 3D.
Now, Mark, you joke, but my partner you get seen there, her favorite film is genuinely Jaws 3D.
Okay, well, I know the most fantastic clinician that can help with that.
Yeah.
But did she see it in the cinema when it first came out in 3D?
No, she's seen it last year and said at the end she was like, "That's amazing. I love Dennis Quaid."
Did she see it in a cinema?
No.
Oh, okay. Because I think my affinity for that clearly marvelous film was the fact that I went to see it in 83 when I wasn't even born yet. And it was the year after my mom and dad first took us out to when we went to Universal Studios in Hollywood and Disneyland and SeaWorld at the time in San Diego. And so this idea, I was in love with the idea of SeaWorld. That was before we realized it's probably not a place I want to visit anymore. And don't watch Blackfish. You'll just be upset. And but yeah, so there were all these things I kind of liked that all came together, and seeing Jaws 3D on its original release, and it wasn't red and blue, red and green glasses. It was proper polarized glasses, and of course it's themed. It's like, oh, what's this over here? And this a finger goes towards the screen, or some huge rubber fish starts crawling its way into your lap. But for what it was back then, it was kind of fun as a 10-year-old kid, to see it then. Now, if you've ever seen it, okay, girlfriend that loves Jaws 3D. Did she see it in 3D?
No.
Oh God, Danny, why do you even talk to him anymore? Because like it's not in 3D. It is not good.
To be fair, it could have been 4D because as we were watching it, I just spat on her the whole time.
And again, I loved the process of it too, like understanding how it was shot. And there was a making of Jaws 3D on ITV one lunchtime, like I think school holidays. I think it was in when it first came out, and they showed in this making of, they showed a scene of when they like take the blanket of this gutted out body that Jaws like gripped on the spleen out. There's guts and entrails hanging out. I think for the English version, they actually cut it down because it was too gruesome. This thing on ITV, it's like guts everywhere, and they didn't give a damn then. They were just showed everything. But it is this really fascinating story of how to not quite do it right, because there was a 3D process back then that kind of worked, and they decided not to use that, and instead to use this new process that allows you to like split a piece of film in two, so it kind of got left eye, right eye, all in one bit of film, I think. Which basically, well, I probably got the detail that's slightly wrong, but it just meant that it was a cheaper way of doing it, but it's going to work just fine. And it turned out that it didn't. What it ended up doing was, if you released it in 2D, everything was grainy, soft, possibly out of focus, and just looked like junk. and there's a famous scene that you just see on like animated gifs of Jaws like in the final scenes smashing through the glass, and this shark is going bum 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 bum, reaches the glass, and the shark just stops moving. It just stops, and the glass smashes, and you just go, yeah, this looks like I did it. It looks like if you just did it when you weren't paying any attention. But again, I'm 10 years old, and there's all this glass flying out into the audience, and I'm over the moon about that. But they did I've got it on Blu-ray, and I watched it in the 3 dimensions, and I'm still in denial. But it was the first time you'd ever had a proper like HD restoration of Jaws that was available to watch in proper 3D with polarized glasses, because up until then it wasn't particularly well looked after. And even better, they did a 4K restoration using AI upscaling that was released in the past few years. It's absolutely terrible. So, like the early AI where you see like someone that's grown an extra eyeball, or they've suddenly got a wonky face. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
I've seen the I Love Lucy AI 4Ks. Have you seen those?
No.
So like obviously Lucy Ball will be in the foreground, and the background was blurry, But AI is like, just throw any old face on it. So you'll just get random people passing with just mustaches just sort of like this. Like, oh no.
Well, but then, because well, I'm not eating a biscuit. Um, have you seen the Twilight Zone Blu-rays?
Don't
The original
believe.
black and white ones from the 50s.
Mhm,
Stunning. So, of course, it was shot on 35 mil.
mhm.
So it looks new.
Yeah.
A good, it's like they've just done a restoration of Thunderbirds, and they've done a Blu-ray 4K restoration of a couple of episodes. You would hope as a fan down the line you'll get the entire series re-released again in 4K down the line, but they've just released Thunderbirds restored, looking the best it's ever looked. And again, I love those Anderson shows, those Jerry Anderson shows, and it kind of all fits into the same. I don't know if you like that, you probably like that, because huge Star Wars fan, but like 1964, 1965, Thunderbirds. And the special effects in Thunderbirds were by Derek Meddings, who went on to work on James Bond. Now, this is like cinematic stuff. And like Star Wars, Thunderbirds had an actual proper orchestral score.
Mhm.
And again, which just lifts it.
Yeah.
It's incredible how the sound design really does make a difference to the finished result. Like Jaws, without that orchestra, it wouldn't have been Jaws. John Williams' cellos ended up becoming the shark.
Yeah.
Pretty stunning stuff. And again, it is. You said this earlier, like this connection of how being interested in other people's work, not just my own. And believe me, I think I'm fascinating. But it's that thing of actually genuinely caring about other people's work. Love the Jerry Anderson shows, and my friend Richard Taylor. I first met Rich when I was just starting out, and I bought my very first kit, like to like learn how to use recording studio kit, so I could teach myself how to perform character voices and things, and teach myself how to be a producer. And it was my mom and dad let me sell the family piano, and we went to this place in Birmingham called Carlsbro Music to buy a microphone, a data machine to record on, a little mixing desk, the kit you needed to do stuff with. Now you can do it on your cell phone. Well, that's where I met a guy who turned into a good friend, Richard Taylor. And, he would advise me and we'd buy stuff, and I bought synthesizers and things. This one day, he said, come and hang out at the house. So I went over to where he lives, and he go, what the hell is this? My dad dropped me off, and he goes, this is like a big, big house. And on it was a plaque saying, name of the studio. And it sounded so familiar. And we walked in, it was like a dubbing suite, and you go, this is not normal. And then there's the control room, the huge studio, and then we go upstairs and he introduced me to his dad, John, and he's a real gentleman, John. And he's, oh, hello, I'm John. And I went, John Taylor? I went, well, yes. I went, oh my God, you're John Taylor, the sound designer from Thunderbirds. And and Richard's dad did the sound design for Thunderbirds and Stingray and Fireball XL5. And the coincidences are quite incredible. And again, it was only because I was interested in him that this kind of happened. And then I ended up like doing like work placement. Like I helped John out in the studio once for a week, and it was just like just great to just watch him work. And I now work with Jamie Anderson, going with the Thunderbirds connection, Jerry Anderson's son on new projects. So a year or so back, we did like a Jerry Anderson symphony live at Birmingham Symphony Hall, and it was all your favorite Thunderbirds themes and all your favorite Jerry Anderson themes: Thunderbirds, Captain Scarlet, Fireball XL5, Stingray, Terror Hawks, all that live. And then in part two, we performed a brand new episode of Stingray with a live orchestral score. And I'm the voice of Troy Tempest now.
Nice.
And you go, are you kidding me? Like, okay, Marina, let's go. Fire Sting missiles. Okay, Commander Shore, coming in. What's that, phones? Really? Oh, all right, better check in with Marineville. And again, in my home city of Birmingham, it was just magical again. It's so exciting. Yeah. And so there's a Thunderbirds thing we did recently where I'm the narrator for this little documentary. But again, it's like you do it as a hobby. Don't tell them.
Yeah,
but
so you still need to get paid, of course.
But I think there's something particularly, helpful, and also kind of is a clue in terms of whatever you choose to do. If it's driven by something you give a damn about, that you care about, and you have an admiration for what they're doing, it kind of, I don't know, it attracts other people. You want to talk to them, not because you're looking for work, but of course, if you can work with them, great. But it's driven by, I think you're really interesting. Can we have a chat, please?
Yeah.
That.
Absolutely. And if, say, Lucasfilm was to come knocking again,
yes,
you're working on obviously. So yes, straight away. So we've got all the newest TV shows, we've the new animated stuff with like the Tales of, and we've got the Maul series coming out, and then we've got Mandalorian and Grogu and Starfire, everything that's coming. But Lucasfilm calls, they say, we want you to come and do some voiceover work again. What would you like to do? Would you like to see Axmo return in some sort of Grand Moff position, or would you like to do a completely new original character? And what would you like to do within the galaxy far, far away?
I think if I was to work on something new, all you want to do is perform a fantastic character. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be anything original. It doesn't have to be anything classic. It's one way or the other. I think it's like if you're a guitarist, you just want to play a fantastic piece of music. And then again, part of the joy of the guitarist is if it's just you, it'll sound fine, but it's so much better with the band. Mm. And so it's like, who are the surrounding people? Who are the other musicians? Who are the other performers? Who's on the mixing desk? Who's directing you? Where's the studio? Where's it going? It's like, it's the bigger picture of who you're playing with. Mm-hmm. There's something, it just is, it's so much better when you're recording with other people, and whether it's other performers or just a great director or just someone that you get on with. There's a game I'm working on at the moment. Nearly said what it was. Whoops. Whoops. Don't want to get in trouble now. Sign a piece of paper. Can't say yet. And I'm sure you'll find out kind of soon. But it's a big thing. Don't say no more. But again, just being on the line with them is a pleasure, because like they ask, normally with this stuff, it's not, you normally you'd get asked to cast for something, and this one they asked for me by name. The head of the organization asked me by name, and that's massively complimentary. I was just over the moon to know that they got in touch, because we're doing this new project, and it's very cool. And we're having a load of fun on it too. Because it's like, it's so good to be able to play. Look, there's a point where you got to make sure that, you read the room and you're there to perform a role. But if you can have a great time along the way, you hear it in the performance. You know when you're watching your favorite band and they're playing with each other, or they're having fun, and you can hear the smile or a giggle that says something in that particular show that, it just stays with you or makes it extra exciting. It's like that with these recordings, and it's me here recording from here, linking up live to their studio, and there's a whole bunch of people on the live link, and we're working, we're creating these new stories, but it's very rewarding because you walk away just smiling. It's great.
That's class.
So
That's great.
you've heard it here that Mark is returning as Axmo in the new uh, racing Star Wars game where you ride mopeds from the Book of Boba Fett just around the town as Axmo, like GTA, but it's just Axmo.
And it's in 40x.
Oh
Oh,
yeah, of course. Yeah, you get your moving seat. You got the
Danny
lights.
just behind your chair, like spraying dust in your hair.
Yeah, that's. I was waiting at him. I was waiting when you were going to get the moped gang in. I was going to pitch
hmm.
that the newest animated series was going to be about the moped gang from Book of Boba Fett. Have you watched Book of Boba Fett, Mark?
No.
You
Mark, you're in for
should.
a treat.
You're in for a treat. You need to go watch Book of Boba Fett. A lot
If
of
you
people will probably say otherwise, but you should check it out.
if you like quadrophenia,
Oh,
you look like a man that does. You enjoy your mods, you enjoy your music.
clearly.
Of course,
I just scream quadrophenia.
you are personal friends with Phil Daniels. Paul Daniels,
Pa- Paul
the
Daniels.
magician.
Paul Daniels. Magic. Debbie McGee. Now. Oh,
Quadrophenia with Paul
who
Daniels and
is
Debbie
it?
McGee. Now that's a movie.
My
Oh my
God.
goodness.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Mark, is there any voices in your repertoire that you haven't got to use professionally? Like say like you could do like an amazing Homer Simpson, but they've never came to you and said,
Oh
"Can you?"
God, yeah, yeah, I mean, yeah. We've all got our party pieces and stuff. And I think it's like if you're going back to the musician analogy, um, every now and then you'll be playing around and you'll play a cover tune,
Mm,
you know. But um, and it's interesting. It's interesting too because when you start out, those are your only points of reference, your heroes. So like if you're learning how to play the keyboard or whatever it might be, you start out by playing your heroes' tunes, and that's all you got because that's all you know. And then eventually you'll start noodling, same with being an artist or any kind of performer, and you might start playing your own little melodies and making over time, the more you do this, the more experience you get. You go from being the cover band to being the band. I'm the band now, But what? When you are the band, it's still cool to play some cover tunes every now and then.
mm.
And I think that's the thing. It kind of all goes around, and there's still a thrill to finding something and putting your own spin on something else you love. But to answer what you were saying, yeah, I mean, there's loads of stuff. I mean, there's you. I think inevitably too, you get known for a certain style of performance, and I'm very drawn to comedy, and I love larger than life character voices, and it's because it makes me laugh. It's not. It's just it's that. At the same time, there's so much stuff that um, I'm so much more than just that. I'm more than just a loud animated character voice. Yeah, but even stuff that you wouldn't know me for really, that people wouldn't know it's me. So where are you both now?
Northern Ireland.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Belfast.
Yeah.
Macrophone.
So have you ever been out into Dublin?
Yes.
I've heard of that. Well, in Dublin, I'm not eating a biscuit. Hang on. That was a big mistake. That was too big a chunk. Hang on. I can't get away with that one. I feel like coffee as well. Hang on. Hang on. No! So, for the record, he just spat out a biscuit. He spat out a biscuit. Please look the other way.
It
He's
came out
saving it for
whole.
later. Yeah.
No, really much. This needs to go to the washer now. It's just full of cake.
Covered in crumbs.
There we go. So, yeah, something that I think most people would not know is me. Do you know the radio station FM 104
Hmm.
in Dublin? Well, for a year or years ago, I started doing little bits of recordings for like sketches and things for FM 104, and no one would know it was me. I didn't know it was me. And then I was talking to one of the producers there at the time, and they were about to, the voice that says, like the imaging voice of FM 104. So like, the voice you take, go Radio 1 FM, that kind of thing, but except FM 104. They were looking for a new voice for FM 104 and they couldn't find it. And I said to this guy, how's it going? He went, shite. And I said, what's that? He said, well, we've been looking for months. And he said they tried actors, voice actors, people on the street, people in the office, and they couldn't find anyone that it just worked with because it had to be this kind of like voice the station. And I said, well, anyway, he said it needs to be on in 2 weeks. They couldn't find the right person that was just the right fit. And there's lots of people that got great voices that could have done it, but it didn't quite fit right. It's like we were saying, you can have a fantastic character or a great voice, but it needs to be the right fit for the rest of the context, So I said, well, he went, oh, I said, to me, it's obviously going to be the voice of the station. But if it was me doing it with a producer head on, I would be, I'd be looking to create the voice of the station. I went, go on. And I said, well, because if it's just a person's voice, you'll get somebody with a great voice that could do it. There will be a number of people that will be able to do it. But then as the station evolves, that person, it's still that person's voice. So to me, so I said, we could create the voice of the station. So let's think it's an Irish station with Irish presenters. So it's like like a little bit of Irish in there. But really, the most of it, you're playing American music mostly. So I would have this, this mix, but basically it's mostly American. And he went, And I said, and your station has a strut and a swagger and an attitude. And we could create something brand new that had all that in one. He went, so how would that sound? And I said, Dublin's music station, FM 104. Your chance to win tickets to see Aerosmith live at Marley Park. Now, back to the music. He went, oh, God, you could have saved me 3 months. He said, are you free on Tuesday? And I've been the voice of that station for over 20 years now.
Whoa.
And nothing lasts that long. And I'm almost reluctant to tell anyone because you don't want it to end, But it's like say if you were brought in to take over the sound of something or, how something's run, the reason you're there is because you do it differently to how the current people do it. So as the person shaping it, you'd want to put your stamp on that. Well, and I understand that. But I'm over the moon about and so proud of this, that the people that have come in subsequently have said, we're going to change that, we're going to change that, we're going to change that off that show to this show, these people to those people. We're not touching the voice. Because what would happen, take me out of it personally, that voice of Dublin's hit music station, FM 104, that has become such a known voice in Dublin of the past 20-something years that even if you don't hear me say or hear that voice say FM 104, just hearing the voice go, this weekend, get ready for action. You go, you know what it is? And it's this, and also what's wonderful about this particular one is over time, it's evolved. So as the stations evolved, or just incrementally over time, it's changed. If you heard it like from 20 years ago, it sounds different to how it does now. But I'm really proud of that one because it's like, it's become a part of the culture there. It's a really wonderful thing. I'm so proud of it. And the people I work with there are cool as hell too. And but this is how far reaching it is. I took my mom to the Isle of Wight a few months ago, and we were just getting an Uber back to the ferry. It's this really long pier at the Isle of Wight. It's it's crazy bonkers to walk all the way to where you get the ferry. So we're in this Uber, and other forms of taxi are available. And so we're in this Uber, and there's this the taxi driver. She said, I said, oh, which bit of Ireland are you from? She said, oh, Dublin. She said, Dublin. And I said, oh, do you miss it? She went, I know, well, kind of, yeah. But she said she stays in touch but I stay in touch by listening to this radio station over there. It's called FM 104. So I listen to that every night. She's like, still stay connected. When you listen to FM 104, when yeah, he said, you know it. I said, oh my God, are you kidding me? I said, I said, are you telling me you listen to Dublin's hit music station FM 104 now live from the Isle of Wight Pier? And she nearly crashed the bloody car. She went, what the what? Whoa! And she's like, I'm obviously exaggerating, but she went left, right. Wow! She said, are you kidding? She went, that's not you. She went, you're joking me. And
That's
I said, yeah, it's me. And she went, what? And she said, what's the chance of that? And you go, yeah, what is the chance of that? That the Uber driver at that one part of the world at that particular moment picked up those particular people. And it was lovely though, just to see her reaction to that. Because I don't see that. Because I'm here, it is. By the way, have you got a tattoo on your hand, Adam, that says lover?
No, I'm a big fan of Stephen King's It.
Loser!
So it's
I was distracted. I'm sorry. I'm finding you two much more interesting than I thought it
you just expect to come on here and just answer Star Wars questions? No, that's not our shtick.
That's yeah. Well, this is just an actual normal conversation. So much more fun. Well,
um well we'll sort of wrap it up there, Mark. I don't want to, but the kids have to go to bed.
Work in the morning.
We've been gancing for 2.5 hours and enjoyed every minute of it, to be
Oh, yeah.
honest.
I blame you for being interesting and having a Winnie the Pooh on the shelf, and I blame Adam. I blame Danny too for just having stuff on his wall.
Plethora of things. The plethora
We
of-
haven't talked about Lego. We haven't. Oh, look at
Would you like
that!
to-
There's so
would you
much
like
to talk
a
about.
sip of from my Jar Jar cup?
No,
Original 99 Phantom Menace Jar Jar cup.
do you know what? I think I've got that.
Ooh.
Well,
I
if you
mm,
didn't, you could win over on our Instagram page. We've just reached 7,500 followers and we're doing a
what?
giveaway. And one of the giveaway items is your very own Queen Amidala and Anakin Skywalker cup topper. So you can win that.
Now you see, that's a very cool thing to win for a fan. So I have to ask this because I know how I feel as a collector. Was it hard to part from that?
Hard to part from this?
Mhm.
No, Adam was just like, he was like, "Do you want these?" And I was like, "I'm keeping the Jar Jar for me,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
the other one can go. The other one,
Yeah.
Adam still got the
Here's
Yoda.
here's the box they came in that says KFC cups and toppers. So really looked after well for 25 years.
That's a lot of niceness. Yeah, that's exciting. Well, I remember I was at some event years ago, and there was somebody there that had a lot of Phantom Menace posters. I thought it was the original run. I thought, no, I'll grab them all. I bought all of them.
Did you clear him out?
Mhm. Because I thought, well, I'll only regret it if I do. Because you only get one chance to do that.
Of course.
And I thought,
Yeah.
well, if I could use that for either Comic Cons or, fundraising events or stuff to donate, it's a nice thing to have. It is funny how you come across like treasure every now and then. Okay, let me ask you a question. I know you got to go and feed children.
Just
But
cats.
is there anything that you found at an event or something where you thought, I've just found treasure?
Oh, I'll show you. Comic Con Northern Ireland last year, I found a piece of treasure, and it's Phantom Menace related. It
Ooh.
was a toy I wanted when I was a kid at the time. I
Mhm.
never got, but I finally found it at Comic Con, and the wee fella selling it was like, "I'll do it for you for 15 quid." And I was like, "Oh, class, hold on." It is the episode one sneak preview stab and
No.
battle droid.
Nice.
So that there with Doug Chang's concept
Yeah.
art for it on the back, and
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
so the wee man at the stall was like, I'll do 15 quid for that, and I was like, no bar, I'll take that right now.
Yep.
So that was my little piece of treasure for my last con.
That's really nice. What about you, Adam?
I don't have big treasure pieces because I'm always afraid that they'll break and I'll be sad. Um,
Oh,
but like I'm a big physical media guy, so I have my
mm,
Blu-rays and my 4Ks because I
mm.
love sort of preservating cinema because I always make the argument if Netflix goes down tomorrow, come over to mine and we can watch Police Academy 6. Um,
Oh, Steve Guttenberg, we love you so.
fellow voice artist Michael Winslow was over at Northern Ireland Comic Con. Me and
I
Tony
saw
said
that.
we said hello to him and he's just a nice man.
Just like,
Yeah,
hello.
that's it. Well, it's he's an older gentleman now, and again, massively talented. It is, but again, though, what you were saying there, there's a lot of a sense with that, Adam. You saved yourself a great deal of money and storage space issues, but you got the Figment bag.
Oh, like if this was my office, this would be full of shit. Um, um, but all of my stuff is downstairs. A lot of like my Pee Wee Herman collection is treasured
Oh,
to
It's
me.
growing.
oh,
Yeah.
have you seen the documentary?
Oh,
So good.
so good.
So good.
2 parts, right?
Yes.
That's
And
a fantastic documentary.
like for a documentary, uh, from the outside could be about, oh, it's this performer and he had this character, or whatever. For the documentary to take a turn in the second
Mm,
half of
yeah.
Paul becoming paranoid, fascinating.
Yeah, it was way better than I ever thought it could be.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It was a brilliantly made documentary. I going back to what we were just saying before, I was just curious about if it was this treasure you've ever found. So I love original animation art, and I grew up as a fan of Danger Mouse and Duckula and things by Cosgrove Hall Studios, who through sheer luck and joy and privilege were the first people I ever got to work with performing animation characters on. So again, meeting these wonderful people. And I was at a Comic Con and I just bought, now is it in here? No, not in this room. I bought an original uh, animation cell of from The Simpsons as Mr. Burns playing an arcade machine.
Class.
And oh God, right, that was the time when they just released Mask of the Phantasm, Batman.
Oh.
And so just that was just out. And it was the first time really where you got this new Batman, really, of any like stature. And so I bought the Simpsons cell and I walked over and I heard someone shout my name. And it was a woman from New York called Debbie Weiss. And she ran this animation art gallery in New York, and she was over, and I went over to her, and she had this guy with her, and she said, "Oh, we got these," and the whole thing behind her was Batman original cells, which of course you just don't get those now, and from this brand new thing, this brand new Batman movie. And there was a guy with her, and she said, she said, Mark, this is my friend Kevin. He's the new voice of Batman. And it's like, and so of course then we didn't really know his genius and greatness. It was Kevin Conroy,
Mhm.
and we sat down and just chatted, and we just he said, Mark, they're all crazy. And he kept a little notebook of some of the things that people had said to him about Batman and the stories were wrong or that shouldn't have happened or if only this would happen. And he was the most incredibly wonderful man to just spend time just chatting with Kevin Conroy. And and as time went on, he just became this master of he was Batman.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He was the Batman. And the last time I saw him was a few years ago at a Comic Con in Wales, Telford, one of them. And there were a bunch of us just from like voicey world talking. And I was talking about he was telling me about a lamp he'd just been given this by someone that he worked with within the recording side. And it's this beautiful lamp. We just talked about this lamp. And then just before we all went down and started signing at this Comic Con, I was just having coffee, first thing in the morning, and I thought we must get a picture together. And I thought before I said that to him, I thought, no, do you know what? Just enjoy the moment. Do it next time. And then just a few weeks later, we lost him. And the more you hear about him, you realize all the other work he did for good and in soup kitchens and things. And there's a great story of how people didn't believe he was actually Batman. And then from the kitchen, from the back of this thing, that he just starts saying, "I am the night," and I am Batman. And then they go, "Jesus, it is Batman!"
Mhm.
Oh God, if you ever get any time just to hear him talk or interviewed, he was wo- class act, Kevin.
Yeah.
But yeah, but the only reason I mentioned this, God, there's some sidetracks tonight. Was so I just bought the Simpsons cell of Mr. Burns. Then met Kevin Conroy and Debbie and we chatted. Oh, and at the end of it, he said, "You must have one of these." And he handed me this flyer promoting the new Batman and promoting this animation on. And he wrote, "To Mark, from one great voice to another, Kevin Conroy, Batman." And you're going to go, "Oh my God, it's so nice of him." So anyway, I carry on skipping around this Comic Con. And there's a guy, it's like a Comic Con. There'll be treasure and there'll be junk. But that junk will be someone else's treasure. And this guy went, he said, "Do you like cartoons and things?" And went, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah." He went, "Oh, I've got some more pictures of like cartoons and things under there, under the table and around there, these boxes. So you're welcome to have a look at them if you want." So I lift up the thing and have a look under the table. And it's an archive of original Cosgrove Hall art across two, three like boxes like this, like the length from your fingers to your elbow. And it was piled up from top to bottom, original pencil sketch, tissue paper, full color animation cell, original pencil sketch, full color animation cell from Danger Mouse and Duckula, plus original concept art, original backgrounds, everything. And like a genius, I went through one at a time, going, "Oh, that's really nice, and that's really, I'm going to have that one, I'm going to have that one, and have that one." Like 50p for a pencil sketch and £1 for these others. And, they are worth more than that. They are treasure. And like a dope, what I didn't do, because this is like 100 years ago, what I should have done is, what do you want for the lot? And just take these boxes home. And all I could think of was, how am I going to get these back home? But I got a bunch of them. And then working with Mark and Brian, Cosgrove Hall, there were a couple of events we did together where I interviewed them on stage. They said they'd only do it if it was me interviewing them. Because it's like you two, you know it inside out, but actually care about it too. It's all the any show business aside, actually appreciate the treasure of what they did. And so we went for dinner before we did these talks. And I took a load of these cells and pencil sketches, and they signed them all for me. And it was just like, I've got like original Danger Mouse, like pencil sketches and the works and stuff, and it's just lovely.
Yeah.
And you just learn so much from. I said it earlier, but you learn so much from hearing the animators and the artists talk, because it's the origins of where these things come from and grow from, and they're developing the characters and what they can do physically with them as animators, and because it's a 50-50 thing. We're performing the character voice, they're performing, they're moving. It's you look at some of the early Disney documentaries of the animators. We look at them, their faces in a mirror, and mouthing the words out, and they're committing that to paper. It's a different. It is such a skill, and it's so important to keep those skills alive too, because with new tech that's coming out now and will keep on developing, you can literally type a prompt in and create something. And you go, the other techniques need to stay around because they matter, because there's a heart and soul that went into those. Now, this has come from someone's point of view, someone else's hand. This has come from somebody that is an actual artist, where there's a like we stop. I'm a massive fan of stop motion animation, and this is when you look at anything like Tim Burton, Wes Anderson, their stop motion work, and and Leica Studios. My friend Chris is over here at the moment. He worked for Leica on a load of stuff. He was one of their riggers. My friend Tim, he's worked on stuff with Wes Anderson and Tim Burton, loads of them, and done like Club Penguin for Disney and stuff. But when you watch something that's stop motion or an animatronic, like we're talking with Star Wars, there's a connection you have with that character like you don't do with anything that is created in CGI, because you can it existed in real space, and there's something inherently, I don't know, special or tactile or attractive to that, because it's like, what would you rather have, CGI with mind-blowing effects or practical effects where they banged their head on that bit by accident, or that's a bit of, it's stuff that's real. It existed. To know there's something that existed in the real world, there's something inherently attractive to that draws us in. And you look at all the things that we're talking about now, all this stuff existed. Even animation cells, they were painted by hand, and you see the imperfections, which is real life. And like, wrapping this up, I was at the Comic-Con last year, and somebody said to me in this interview on the panel, what's the one thing you couldn't do without with what you do? And I thought about this, and I said, you know what? You, the audience. I said, without you, this doesn't exist. And I said, it's a really healthy thing to remember. We're doing this for an audience. And why does it matter? I just said I was at a gig, some music event a few weeks before that. And you kind of go, what was it that made all of us want to be in that room to watch these people perform those tracks live? And it's because it's this community. We want to see them live. Because when we heard the tracks, that was by a bunch of people who you just thought were cool. And you listen to it and you watch it again, and it might be your favorite band, it might be Star Wars, but you kind of go, I want to meet them. I want to hear those performers, the artists, the set makers, the musicians, the sound design people, the special effects people, the person that developed that motion control camera. I want to hear them talk about how they did it and why they did it, because they're interesting. And I just learned something. And I think it's easy to forget that stuff really does matter, because when you get talent like that in a room, creating these amazing moments, I think it has a much longer shelf life, because it turns to something that you connect with for the rest of your life. You've got a bag with Figment on it at the back there. So many people will never even heard of Figment. I mean, for the record, if you've never heard of Figment, a Figment is a little purple dinosaur, and it all started out in 1983 in Epcot in Orlando, and it was an attraction called Journey into Imagination, and it was a story about Dreamfinder and this little purple dragon, Figment, a figment of your imagination. And it took you, and the way they told this story was just pure joy, and at the end of the attraction back in the day when I first went there, there was a guy outside and you met Dreamfinder, and he had this little, like, it's almost like a ventriloquist doll, but that was the proper size of Figment. Now at Disney, they've got this, like a 6 foot high guy in a suit. Like videos of it in Epcot, like falling over. Go, whoops! Looks like I made the suit. But Figment was this little purple dragon, and you think about it, it became the unofficial mascot of Epcot because this character was so good, and you loved it because of how it was created, performed, designed, the whole thing, the songs. It became the unofficial mascot of Epcot, and a couple of years ago, a few years back, they they made a Figment popcorn bucket.
Mhm.
Now, you could go, who cares? Well, so many people cared about this one character. They were queuing up all the way around Epcot's, World Showcase for hours. And they were being sold for like a lot of money on eBay. And it's just this character that was in a theme park attraction, still is, at Epcot, this one theme park in the world. And yet so many people still have a love of that character. And it was real, you know? And there's something, it's important to remember those things because it's why we're talking now. There's something about those films and those characters that it's like lasts forever, in a way that the others do. Oh, one last thing. Star Wars, the original cut, the unspecialized version. Are you looking forward to seeing that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We're looking forward to seeing the Belfast man, Declan Mulholland, back as Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Little home
Well,
connection.
well, that's the thing is in the original he wasn't in it at all.
Mm-hmm.
It was a deleted scene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But the idea of seeing, I think it'll be fascinating to see the reaction from fans seeing Star Wars how it was in the original release without any of the CGI extras, without any of the sound design refinements. Because it's have you seen a version of that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, of course you have. Yeah, we all have. and it's quite an eye opener to see it in its original form because you go, oh, that's not shiny. Oh, that sounds not quite as we're used to it.
Great Dragon what?
But it's still fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
There's even down to the 20th Century Fox overture. It's like the crispy version.
Mm.
It sounds a little more crunchy, but I'm really looking forward to being there. Let's all go and see it together when it's released.
oh, absolutely. You coming over here to pick up your card?
I should do that.
We should.
That's worth the taxi fare. I'll book my bus now.
Yeah, and just get the person that left you to the ferry before the taxi. Just get her back because she's a fan of yours now. So
That's
you know,
it.
she can.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she can. Yeah, from the Isle of Wight to over here to drive me on the ferry to Dublin's FM 104, then out to Ballymena in Belfast, and we
Yeah.
are laughing.
Exactly. Yeah, and you know what? We'll invite Liam Neeson while we're at it because
I'll be nice to
there's
see
another
you.
fun of minutes. Yeah, exactly. Did you get to meet Liam? Again, we're going on. We're rounding this up. We're rounding this up.
2 hours
Did
more.
did you get did you get to meet Liam? Did you have any experiences with Liam Neeson?
I did not meet Liam,
But I bet he's lovely though. I hope
but
so.
I've heard he's looking forward to meeting you and Adam.
Mm.
Of
Well,
course he
he is my
is.
uncle,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, exactly.
course.
I've met him loads of times. See, that's why we didn't get the Phantom Menace in 3D over here because with his nose coming towards the screen, it would have been a health and safety hazard.
That's how we don't get Liam on the podcast.
Exactly right. I have to ask because I think I know the answer. Is he actually a relative?
Yeah.
No.
No, it's one of those. It's my party trick when I go abroad,
Of course.
and people
Yeah,
go
you have to
Neeson,
ask.
and I say yes, of course he is.
But if you combine Adam and I, we kind of make almost a relation because Adam's got the Neeson name. I'm from Ballymena. Close enough.
It's exactly the same. It's like the first time my mum and dad we went to Disney. We went out to America. It was just after the royal wedding, and my dad was wearing this really nice like blazer jacket, and there was this American, this Americans by us, and they were so nice, and they went, "It's really nice to meet you." I said, "Did you go to the wedding?" Because we're English, we'd have gone to the wedding. So there has to be a connection. It is just that cut and dry.
Yeah.
By the way, just before we finally wrap this up, because I've realized it's now we've been on the we probably need to book our flights. What's that behind you? Because it looks like either a lot of little paintbrushes or toothbrushes.
This side.
Adam, no, Adam.
Oh, me? This side?
Oh no, I can see your makeup drawer on the far left-hand side.
Oh, yeah,
of the
that's
thing
mine.
there. But yeah, but those, what are they?
These are so my fiance runs a crafting business. She makes things like little ginger cats, or to the other side, Pennywise the clown. So
Terrifying.
everything. But
Are
these
they
are
brushes?
pens that you can buy with the
Ah,
Jedi Master Luke Skywalker.
of course
Or
they are.
if you're more inclined, you could of course get the sexiest man in the galaxy, Lando Calrissian.
I thought you were going to say you'd done a Danny Brown bit of merch. There's
Thanks.
the fella.
It's on the way.
Of
If we
course
get
it is.
one more listener to this podcast,
We'll get all the merch.
And
All the
Adam and Danny, all 2-in-1 plush. Like
That's coming next.
Squid Games.
We do have a
Well,
piece of
gentlemen,
merch.
it's been. Is it a Polaroid camera?
Of course it is.
Of course it is.
Of course it is.
I
That's
just
my
wanted,
question.
can you just come to my house, Mark, and just look at
Yeah,
everything?
do you look our stuff? No, we do have a piece of merch. We have a print of our very own original character, J3PO, inspired by the Phantom Menace 1 posters. Mhm.
That's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Well, well next time I'm in the Belfast department, we'll have to say hello.
Oh,
do.
absolutely. Yeah,
That's
of
great.
course. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
it. When Tim gets you over again for another 5-person audience, we'll
I can't
definitely
wait.
we'll make 6 and 7.
Will be you, Adam, and the listeners.
That'll be 9 people.
Exactly.
9 people.
We'll sell out.
Oh God, I think we sold out years ago.
Wow.
It's been a thrill.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you for joining us, Mark.
Thank you, Mark, for your time.
Thanks for the fun. I really enjoyed hanging out.
Is there anything you would like to plug, sir?
Let's have a look. I was going to do a plumbing gag then. It's probably too near to the truth. If you are welcome to follow what I get up to on the socials and YouTube, I'm at Marc Silk, which is MARC, S for sugar, ILK.com. That's kind of it. And just be nice to each other.
Mm.
Yeah, no, there's some lovely stuff going on. And feel free to go and watch Phantom Menace again and enjoy the sci-fi legend that is Axmo.
Just imagine what it would have sounded like post eating some crisps.
Or biscuits.
Mm.
We'll do that on the next show. And then just fill my face full of that. Danny can be full of rice and you can just be like interfering with your figment thing. Interfering with a figment in my imagination. And then what was the other one as well? No, I think we're good.
Danny plugs for April.
Danny plugs.
Danny
Plugs.
plugs.
Your chance to buy Danny plugs.
I'm going to get my plugs out. Yes, Saturday the 18th of April in the Braid Arts Centre, Ballymena. Strange and Unusual, a celebration of science fiction and horror will be there. So be sure to call down. We will have already announced a few of our special guests of honor as well as talks. We have a screening of the film More starring me, directed by Kurt Dean Darby, and a whole plethora of wonderful traders and displays as well.
Traitors.
Traders. Sorry, it's the Ballymena accent. Traders.
A whole bunch of traitors.
A whole bunch of traders.
Bunch of weasels.
That's why Claudia Winkleman didn't film it over here.
Yeah, because they'll all be like, are they saying traders or traders?
Imagine that. You get the two mixed up and you go, no, just selling stuff.
They're just selling stuff. It's just a remote one selling stuff to each other.
It's both of their listeners like selling pens. It's basically really nice quality heavyweight stationery. 250 gram, it really feels nice to the touch.
Yeah. The BBC's listening and they're like, we might be on to something here.
I'm not sure they can afford it now.
Well,
That's a whole other story.
but thank you everybody for listening. I've deleted Twitter, Danny.
Did you
The
why?
actual
The
platform.
whole thing?
Elon
Just
Musk is
just
raging.
you just had to
Um,
get out, dip out.
I deleted my personal Twitter because the world is shit, and I just need to see puppets to get me through the day.
Hmm.
That's
Um,
a wise thing. Do you know what? Every now and then you just need to have put it down and just enjoy something that makes you happy.
mm,
Yep.
but yeah, you've got the Instagram, YouTube, and
I'm on
then
Threads now.
Threads. We are indeed, and if you want to send us anything by post, just shout it out the window and we'll get it. Um, but that's all the fun and shenanigans that we have had this week in the stars with the stars. And as always, we have friends everywhere. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye bye.
Nighty night.
I must warn you, you would be required to laugh at the outrageously hilarious antics of a talk show in outer space.
Yes, I can do that.
I like your attitude, Hamill. Come in Monday for paperwork.
Yes.
Whoa! Save some for the convention, buddy.
Yes.
So, what do you do at these conventions? Do you say, show how you ate breakfast on Tatooine? Is it Tatooine?
Oh, me eating cereal would be...
Impressive.
This is just sad.
That's amazing, Mark. Would you bring your imaginary ball of cereal to my convention?
That'd be great. If I'm in your galaxy, I'll stop on by.
Great. Then I'll see you at Space Ghost Con 97.
Thank you so much for having me.